Hello, this is Katie. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be making this card using a couple stamp sets from Fawn, building it from a kit. And this one uses Swan Soiree, and I believe the frog's from Totally Awesome. And then I'll be using the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers to color it in. So I am just going to piece it together, and this one is going to be lifted up on foam. I'm not using my normal like 3M foam tape roll. I'm using up some of my Stampin' Up dimensionals. So I'm going to raise that up on foam. This was originally going to be a card kit from a fellow crafter, but we confirmed with Fawn that she was not able to sell them. So I am just piecing it together, hopefully as inspiration for you today, if you would like any of these sets. I will also link down below my link for Doodlebugs Washington. If you want to shop there, if you use my link, you can get 15% off your first order. And they also have free shipping over 30 in the US. So that is very helpful. And she will also have the new Fawn on the 25th as well. So for this part of the card, the bottom of the pond needs to be trimmed off. So for this, I am just putting adhesive everywhere else other than kind of the very bottom of the pond, since it's going to be trimmed off anyway. And I ended up dropping this right onto the card base, and it was very sticky, obviously. So I have to peel that up, and I'm bending my cardstock. But I just place it down again where I wanted it to go. And then I can trim off. I was sneaking in some glue because it wasn't as much as I thought I was going to have to trim off. So I'm just putting some glue underneath, and then I'm going to trim off the rest of it. I've been using a little too much glue lately, and it's kind of seeping out. There's also a tiny little piece of the border that I'll end up trimming off of the pond because we're going to cover this up anyway. So then for this one, when you have or want a background die that is larger than your card base, which is fine. If you want to mail it, you'll need a bigger envelope, but you want to put the adhesive on the card base, and then you want to flip it over and center it onto your background piece so that it's centered, basically. You don't want to put the adhesive on the larger piece because you're not quite sure where you would be putting it. You put the adhesive on the card base, and then you can flip it over and do it like that. So just a tip, if you do want a background piece that is larger than your card base, because it will hold this rectangle inside of it, and because it looks cute. And then here I'm just trimming off the border of the pond, the little tiny piece that was left over, because we don't need it. We're going to cover it up with this grass. So I'm going to put down the taller grass background first. And I probably could have used tape runner here too. It's a wide enough path on the back to have done that, but I'll just use glue and make sure I press that down. And then we're going to put the shorter one that has the cattails on it. There's a die set for this. I'm not quite sure what the die set is called. I'm sorry, but I know there's like, it's probably pond something like add-ons. So there's a die that will cut out these cattails, and I have a bunch of glue squishing out, so I have to get that out. I usually just pick it up with my fingers. I think something is going to cover up that spot anyway. So then I'm pulling out all of the pieces, And the little orange parts of the cattail are going to be there. There's also one other heart. There were different color options for the heart that's going to go between the two swans. But then for the brown tops of the cattail pieces, I think these are cattails. I'm trying not to glue them down. I want them to stay up so that they don't stick down to the card base. I can kind of leave that 3D shadow that you see. So I'm trying to keep my glue minimum, and if it does get glue behind it, I'm trying to pick it up. So the die set has, I'm pretty sure it includes the cattail border, and then also the die that cuts out 5 of these little tops, the brown pieces that I'm putting on. So it's a very cute idea for a die set. So then once I have put all of those on, I am going to move on to coloring my images. I was trying to get that to focus. I'm going to use the Alpine Green Tri-Blend for all of the green things. So I'm trying to pick apart and set aside all the things I know that I want to color green, including the frogs. So I'm going to blend out from dark to mid to light. I'm going to lay down the dark on all of the pieces just to save me from having to uncap and recap this pen several times. Every now and then, very rarely, sometimes the cap can get a little tight and it can pull it off, and you can kind of see the insides of the marker, and I have to try and get it back to normal so I can use the marker again. So whenever I can do something like this, it's better, and I can save myself from having to cap and recap. It doesn't happen with every marker, but it does happen. It happened with my old Spectrum Noir regular markers too. It's just kind of annoying. I've had a Copic do it to me once or twice, so no marker is immune from that happening. When you accidentally pop it open, like the whole barrel piece comes off and you can see like the felt with the ink inside of the marker. So these frogs, actually, I don't believe these are both from Totally Awesome. I think this frog here is from that bookmark set. I'm not sure the name of it, but it's that one where you can do like a front side and a back side. So this is cute because he's going to be sitting on the log looking out onto the pond at the swans. But I believe he's from that set where you can create the front and back side of the animals with the bookmarks. And then the little frog to the right, I think he's from Totally Awesome. I'm just not entirely sure which set he's from. And then for his dots, I'm just going to go back over it with the darkest color. And then we will blend out the mid color on all of our green items. It's a little harder for me to color when all the items are already die cut out, but I try my best to hold them down. And then we can go... I thought I had lost one of the tiny little flies. There's 2 over on the left there, but the third one I found it is under like the log. At some point I'll find it later and I'll end up showing it to you. I think after I'm building the card, so I color him in and add him on because I knew I had lost one of them. But I think he's hiding under that log over there. So I'm just going to blend out the rest of the greens, and then I'm going to use the goldy yellow blend, Tri-Blend, for the brown on the cattails. I really like this color blend for a lot of things. It's good for kind of like hair, golden hair, things like this where you kind of want like a golden brown. It's called gold yellow. To me, it's kind of a brown. And then I'm going to use the tan shades for the log. So I'm just going to go with like the light being on the center of the log. I don't really have a light source coming from anywhere on this card, so I'll just blend towards the middle. I really like this color too. I've been using it a lot. I've used it for hair, for skin tones, for a lot of things like wood, like this log. It's a really good combo. So I've been purchasing some backups of these markers, the ones that I found myself using more. I don't think I've purchased a backup for that one yet. There aren't any refills for these markers as of right now, but they're relatively inexpensive, especially if there's a sale anywhere. But I ordered some backups on dickblick.com. I had a rebate from when I bought the first box. Somehow I end up transferring yellow onto the head of the lady swan, and I'm not sure how I did it. I eventually I'm able to cover it up with her crown, but I think it was on my fingers. I don't know. It was kind of strange. When I color in these swans, I usually just do kind of some sort of light gray, and then I blend it out with the Copic blender pen. I do use this for blending. It's not just for fixing mistakes or trying to erase. And I noticed something was getting on my pen, but it's fine. But I don't know if you can see the yellow on her head. I think I saw it better in person. It was almost like highlighter colored. I don't know what I did, but it might have been on my fingers. I do use the colorless blender for blending, probably more than most people use it for that. When I want to just add some simple color, or if I'm coloring like a ghost, I want to use a light gray, and then I can blend it out with the blender. So it's not just white. You have a hint of something there, and it works especially well for ghosts. So since I want to use a 2-color blend, and these are so tiny, I just start with dots, and then I blend out with a second color. And then I am going back in with the green, because I did want green on the crown. And then I'm just going to put yellow in the middle for the flowers. And then for the little baby swan, I don't know what baby swans are called. Are they ducklings? Swanlings? Baby swans. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're actually like fully gray. So I'm coloring him in, and then I'm giving him an orange beak. I'm not sure if their beaks are orange, but that's okay. I should look up these animals before I color them in, probably. So for the 2 flies I thought I had, I just went with the lightest on the light green blend, and I eventually find the third one later. He's under something. I don't know where I found him later. You might see it. But I'm going to start sticking everything down now that it's all ready, and I want to have the card in view, so I'm trying to move some stuff out of the way. So I'm just going to start sticking down all of the pieces. Some of them need to be tucked behind our cattail die that's in front. But a lot of it is just going to be placed onto the card. I do have this pond die. I need to work with it some more. I do want to use it as a swimming pool. For some of I have little sets with like little girls on floaties or animals on floaties that I do want to make sure I use this summer. This is one of the ones I have to tuck underneath. Sometimes I'll just use the pin from my glue to lift stuff up. Makes it easier. But I think this is a really good like pool die as well. So I want to make sure I use that with some of my floaty people. I have some sets I haven't used yet. I just got the die set for one of them. I think it was an Avriel, little like girls on floaties. So I'll probably use this pond die for that. But I've seen it used a lot of different ways. There was really one creative one I saw recently, and I can't remember what they used it as, but it was very creative. And I don't think it was water related at all. So very clever. I wish I could remember what it was. Unfortunately, I don't. So there are 4 options for the heart. I went with the pink one, just to make maybe the pink flowers pop. Every now and then when I put down some glue, a little bubble comes out, so I have to pop it first. But that was more glue than I needed. And then we need to put down the log and the froggies on the log. After we add the last few cattail and grass elements. And the dragonfly, I think that's a dragonfly. So then the tiny little flies, I just put them in the 2 spots that I thought they would look good in, since I thought I lost my 3rd one. I'll eventually find it. I think it might be under that ribbit. There it is. Yeah, so I found him. And I'm going to color him in really quickly with the same color as the other ones. And then I will stick him down where he was supposed to go with just a little bit of glue. Then we can stick down our log and our froggies. And for a couple of the items, I do sneak in a dimensional, one of my Stampin' Up! Dimensional. So for this one, I knew the froggy was going to be hanging over because he's kind of lifted up at this point. So I just picked up one, stuck it down. And even though he had glue on him, it'll still stick to it. So he's at least supported over the water. And then the little froggy. And then her crown is going to cover up whatever yellow happened to her head. I don't think you can see it in the video very well, but it was yellow. So for this one, I decided to also sneak in a dimensional because I didn't want that hanging off too much. And I tucked it under because I didn't want it to show behind. So that is the card put together, and I'm going to add some white accents onto it. So hopefully this gave you some inspiration. Again, the shop where I buy a lot of my lawn fawn, where I will also be purchasing the new release in a few days, is down below. If you want to get 15% off your first order, you can use my link down below. You can also create an account, get your own link to give to people, and start earning rewards as well. So really cool. And free shipping over 30 in the US, over $30. So that is the card. I know this used a lot of dies and a couple different stamp sets, if not maybe 3. But thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.